Welcome to Aphra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. Well, we're back talking about some LGBTQ plus characters, and I'm super excited about this week's character. It is Vernestra Rwoh, a young Jedi prodigy from the High Republic who just so happens to be asexual, which is super exciting because, as far as I can tell, that makes her the first asexual character in canon. So, yay for Vernestra! She's super dynamic, she's super complex, lovely character, love getting to know her, and can't wait to experience her story more as the High Republic moves forward. Okay, you can say the Jedi aren't allowed to feel any sort of attachments that would lead to romantic entanglements, but that doesn't mean that they're not attracted to other people. Now with Vernestra, she doesn't feel the push-pull of attraction, so she doesn't even have that temptation to get romantically involved with other people. She doesn't feel the same way as other people do about attraction. So I'll get more into that, a specific quote from the narrative that explains in detail what I mean. So, a little bit about her, just some general information. She is Mary Allen. She has pale green skin and 6 tiny black diamonds stacked in 2 rows of 3 on the outside corner of each eye. So those are the markings of her family as a Mary Allen. She has purple-black hair. And she was a knight from the temple at Hynestia. Her master, when she was a Padawan, was Stellan Gios himself. And he realized early on that she was super talented. She was a prodigy. And so at the age of 15, she passed her trials on her first try. Which means at the age of 16, she already had her first Padawan, Emery Kantaros. And that age of 16 is an age when most Jedi are still in the first years of their apprenticeship, not already knighted with a Padawan. So she is super ahead of other Jedi her age. She has a purple lightsaber that can transform into a light whip, and the Force guided her to make these modifications in the middle of the night. And she does have concerns over sharing her light whip design with other Jedi, especially her old master, Stellan Gios, because there are historical recordings of dark side users using light whips. But she does feel that it was the Force that guided her to create her light whip. And it comes in handy many, many times in several different books. She unfortunately has a reputation of crashing starships, and she perceives the Force as a waterway that connects all life in the galaxy. Sometimes she has visions when going through hyperspace, something that Stellan Gios really, really, really wants her to cultivate, but she's a little terrified of. And one thing that makes her super complex as a character is that because of her age, she constantly worries that she's not living up to the expectations of those around her. She thinks she's maybe become a knight too soon, and that the other Jedi don't trust her abilities because she is so young. So she really struggles with not feeling like she's good enough. And I totally get that. So she shows up most prominently in 3 separate High Republic books: A Test of Courage, Race to Crash Point Tower, and Out of the Shadows. So in A Test of Courage, which is the middle grade novel by Justina Ireland, she is 16 years old. And this book details her first mission both for the Council and as a Jedi Knight. One of the other young characters in the book, Honesty, thinks about her. Vernestra was a bit bossy, but there was something warm and approachable about her. She smiled all the time. Vernestra made him ready to follow her every suggestion. And then we get to Race to Crash Point Tower, which is another middle grade novel, this time by Daniel Jose Older. And she is, again, 16 years old in this novel. So one of the characters, Lula Talasola, who is a young Jedi Padawan, thinks Vernestra had a slender, kind face and long, straight hair. And elsewhere in the narrative, it says, Vernestra Rwoh had light green skin and the easy, gentle demeanor of someone who had been around much longer than 16 years. And then finally we get to the book that reveals her asexuality, Out of the Shadows, the young adult novel by Justina Ireland, a book that I have talked about before in Aphra's Artifacts videos, especially in regards to Jordana Sparkburn and Silvestri Yarrow, the beautifully wonderful lesbian couple that is a big part of the novel. In this novel, Vernestra is 17 years old. And so she's been Emery's master for about a year, and she still struggles with it. The narrative says she spent more time than she should wondering whether or not she was doing a good job. So she's seriously worried about her abilities as Emery's master, and she gets reassurance from other Jedi, and she knows she's doing the best she can, and she does finally develop more confidence in herself as the book goes on. So here's where it is revealed that she is asexual. It says, Vernestra sighed. She felt like she was really bad at this. Why couldn't they just duel or meditate? This was a difficult conversation for her because she'd never once had any of those feelings, regardless of the people she met. She could tell when someone was attractive, and there were people she liked more than others, but she had never felt the push-pull of attraction so many other Padawans did when they came of age. She supposed that had made it easier for her, but that did not mean Emery's path would be as smooth. And then it goes on to say her least favorite hollow adventures were the overwrought romance. Of course, if you don't understand or you don't feel romantic attraction to other people, overwrought romances are not going to be your thing because you can't relate to them. So, as that shows, she's not just avoiding attachments because she's a Jedi. She legitimately doesn't feel romantic attraction to other people. So, our first asexual canon character, Vernestra Rwoh. One more thing that I do want to mention about her is this really cool interaction she has with Mari Santeca, who was the Oracle kept in stasis by Marchion Ro, the Nile's Eye, long past the poor woman's natural lifespan. So Mari Santeca is basically on death's door, and she gives Vernestra coordinates, special coordinates, to a secret place right before Mari finally dies. The narrative says, she closed her eyes, Vernestra closed her eyes, and reached out to the half-dead woman. The woman reached back, the connection like and unlike a force bond. For a moment, nothing happened, but then Vernestra began to see flashes of the old woman's life. And then something different, the blue of hyperspace, seeming less random and more deliberate, diverting and flowing in the same way Vernestra perceived the force. A rushing, branching, fluid thing that could be charted and mapped and explored. And then Vernestra saw it, the path, a proper thing, to be named and followed and remembered. Vernestra felt the memory of it being carved on her mind. No matter what happened, she would know how to get there, the place beyond the edge of the galaxy. A place where no living thing should go and no one had gone for a very, very long time. So this clearly sets up a story in the future with Vernestra, and I can't wait to see what comes of this. What in the world are they talking about? It will be a delight to have another book in the future where Vernestra is one of the main characters. So I hope you enjoyed learning about Vernestra Rwoh, our first asexual canon character in Star Wars. And Please remember to check out next week, Monday, 6 p.m. Central for new content. And remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at AliaMorgain, and peruse my blog at thestarsreview.blogspot.com. May the Force be with you.